Welcome to another powerful episode of the Grown in Greek podcast. I'm excited to welcome this episode's guest. So let's dive right in. Before that, let's do some housekeeping notes. Very, very important. So want you to definitely listen to us on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Amazon, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you follow us, like, share, comment. That's very important. And subscribe to the podcast. Also, you can watch full episodes on YouTube. Please, if you know anybody in the D9 that is doing phenomenal things, you can hit me up on IG at Grown in Greek Podcast. Make sure you follow us on social media. Same handle, Grown in Greek Podcast. So he is a social entrepreneur, president and CEO of Datus Henry Industries, the only African-American owned vertically integrated CBD company in the state of Alabama, with a mission to promote wellness and health within underserved communities. He and his siblings run Datus Henry CBD Wellness and Health Store, located in historic Birmingham's National Civil Rights Park. He is also a thought leader in the areas of Black health and wellness and co-founder of Black People Run, Bike, and Swim, which is really dope. He is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the first fam. Please welcome to the podcast, Mr. Patrick Packer. What's happening?
Hey, thank you, Chocolate, for having me.
I'm excited.
I'm super excited. So
I'm excited about this, man, because I get to dive into what I think the next rocket's going to be, and that's the world of CBD, because it has so many advantages,
yes.
So many health things. We'll get into all of that, but you are like, this is crazy because you are definitely following with the whole first fam philosophy, being the first and only African American owned CBD enterprise in the state of Alabama, which is so dope. But I want to get into the backstory of that. You guys utilize land that's been in your family for 150 years, and you decided that you were going to join with the crew, with the family, to cultivate hemp. Like, what?
Yes.
How did that come about?
So I have to tell you, my father was also an alpha, right? And
legacy.
Pledged Gamma Kappa, Miles College, 1954.
Man.
So my generation had to go to my father and say, Dad, can we use a few acres of the property that has been in our hemp family for over 5 generations? I'm the 6th generation.
Wow.
And he was like, yeah, I want to grow weed on the property.
Exactly.
So we had to negotiate with him and educate him right on the benefits of CBD. And he was like, hey, it's you all's generation's time to take this land that has been passed down for generations to do something with it that was fresh. So my brothers and my cousins and all of us got together, pooled our resources together, and jumped into the space in 2019.
Oh, wow.
We
it's
were
still
one
fresh.
of the first group in the state of Alabama to be licensed to grow hemp. And we can talk a little bit about the difference between hemp and weed, cannabis. And so as we move forward, but just know, I'm not second generation alpha, and we are trying our best to live up to what it means to be an alpha in this industry, and the whole hemp industry, where CBD is just a part of the hemp industry.
So where do you fit in your line of siblings?
So I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest.
I'm the youngest,
okay.
And I'm also the youngest of my generation. Of all of my cousins,
Whoa.
I'm the youngest. And, we can be youngest children can kind of take on the special role of being able to get what we want from our parents. So,
okay.
You see what I'm saying? See where I'm going? So they sent me to talk to Dad
Okay.
right? My cousin who's an AKA and my mom who's a Delta was sitting outside in the other room, right? Go in there
Hmm.
and talk to your dad about it. Let's see what he's gonna say. So we are a Greek family.
Okay.
Yeah, my cousin's an AKA, my aunt's an AKA, my mom's a Delta. My dad and I are alphas. So this whole journey has been
Hmm.
fascinating for our generation to decide we are going to use this land to
Hmm.
grow a crop that can benefit the health of all of our people.
So, like, where did the and you may have said this, but I'm gonna ask again. Where did the idea come from? Like, what? I mean, and I know that there's been a kind of a, I won't say it's a trend, but for lack of a better word, a trend that is driving the the thought and the enthusiasm for the hemp and cannabis industry. Like, where did you get that from? Because was the land used for something else prior to you guys cultivating hemp?
So the land has been used to grow crops of many types
Okay.
for many years and or many generations. We decided to take a parcel of the land, just about 18 acres. We thought we
Dang.
started out with in
Hmm.
2019, and so the initial idea came from watching a newscast talk about they are going to allow hemp to be grown in the state of Alabama. My
Wow.
brother's son, who would be the seventh generation, said, "Why don't you all consider growing hemp?" And that's where we started having that conversation.
Hmm. Another one of the younger the
Yes.
younger persons in the family brought it to that is so dope. So you guys like sit in the land or whatever sits in the black belt in, like, I guess the black belt of Alabama, in this part of the southeastern part of the United States is known for like its rich fertile soil.
Yes.
And so how did that play a role in you guys being able to really make it work?
So the concept we jump in with, how do we use this land that is actually black when it gets wet?
Wow. Yeah.
It's called the black belt for a couple of
Hmm.
reasons. One, once it's wet, you can see just how dark it is, which means
Hmm.
it's rich in nutrients, which allowed us to have a bumper crop of hemp when we jumped into growing hemp in the space. So we were lucky enough to be in the black belt versus some other growers had to add a lot of chemicals and everything to their land. We did not have to do that. All of our
Wow.
hemp is grown from the rich soil of the black belt, right? So it just made sense for us,
Hmm.
to move into something that was exciting, that we could all make money, and it could help us sustain the property that we have inherited. Because if you have property, it costs money,
Yeah.
taxes, and things like that. So it was clear from a business perspective, we needed to use the land to make money so we can continue to do what the past generations have done. They grew
Hmm.
cotton, right?
Okay.
So if you come into our store, you'll see cotton. And so
Yeah.
we go from cotton to hemp. It's what we say when you walk in, because you use the land, you use the resources that you have, and you look
Hmm.
at the industry that was hot. Cotton was king back in the day.
Yeah.
And I venture to say hemp is going to be king yet again as the industry grows.
Hmm. So 2019. So it really hasn't been very long that you guys have been, doing it.
No, and no, COVID came in 2020.
Whoa, that's right. That's right.
So we went growing all of this hemp, and then COVID hit, shut
Mm-hmm.
everything down. We were really excited about opening a brick and mortar store early on, but because COVID hit, it was not wise to try to open up a brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, our business model was we're going to be vertically integrated, which means we're going to grow hemp, we're going to process the hemp into CBD oils, we're going to produce a line of consumer products, and we can talk about all of our products
Mm-hmm.
later. And we are going to have a store to sell the products. So we don't necessarily have to depend like sharecroppers in the past, where we would grow, they would come in and try to buy our crop, give us less for our crop than we know it's worth. We didn't have to get in that space. A lot of growers initially in 2019 used that model of just sharecropping. They'll grow it and then sell it to some major corporation. What did the
Mm-hmm.
major corporations do? They came in and they suppressed the market and they used COVID as a reason. And people had tons and tons of hemp biomass that they could not sell at a high enough price to even get the money back that they spent on licensing and seeds and
Mm-hmm.
fertilizer.
So that was the smartest move for sustaining not only through that time, but then, thinking about the trajectory that you guys are on for, making sure that the land stays profitable, number one, but also, stays sustainable.
Yes.
That was the best use
Yeah.
of the
And
land.
yeah, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Yeah, so what we always wanted to be was a leader in the
Yeah.
CBD space, not just in Alabama, but in the United States. And so we had to come up with a model that was going to be
Mm-hmm.
bigger than just growing. So we, as a family, we went from growing cotton. They had, of course, livestock, and they made a transition after the 1950s and the
Okay.
60s, right? From doing row crops and taking part of that land
Mm,
and using it to grow timber, right? So they
okay.
pivoted at that time when an opportunity came. We did the same thing. The hemp
Okay.
industry was another opportunity. So we pivoted to make an entry into that industry, just like they did a pivot, right,
Mm-hmm.
from growing row crops, cotton and corn and soybeans, into growing timber, which sustained the land. We're doing the same thing as this generation.
Mm-hmm. So how involved is the process, from, I guess, my little knowledge, tilling the soil,
Yep.
to planting the seeds, to nurturing fertilizing, to watering, to letting it root, to, the growth part, to
Yes.
harvesting. Like, what does that look like, and how different is it from, growing crops? Like, what
Okay.
does the whole process look
Okay,
like?
so it's a very interesting process, and
Okay.
one of the things we do what's called Hemp Day on the farm,
Mhm.
where individuals can come and see how hemp is grown and experience it, seeing it in the field. And it's a wonderful day for people to come out of the city, come down to the farm, and see where these city boys, right?
Mm,
All of us grew up in the city, are now
okay.
what we call gentlemen farmers. And
Wow.
so you have to prepare the soil. So we had to decide how many acres we were going to grow and prepare that soil. And we picked a segment of of our property that was actually was bought by my sixth great grandparents, right?
Dang. Wow.
Right. And the unique thing is she passed it down to her daughters, right?
Hmm.
Who ultimately passed it down to her daughter, and then on down to the female line. So we inherited actually from my grandmother. So think
Okay.
about it. All of these women,
Wow.
black women in the black belt, thinking I need to have a will and I need to be able to pass this down.
Hmm.
So we picked that piece of the property, which is very
Okay.
meaningful for us. We constructed a greenhouse because you have to
Okay.
grow the seeds in a greenhouse. Okay? And they little seedlings. Then they take them out of the greenhouse, let them sit outside once they're about 6 inches high. And then they get used to being outside. Then we plant them in the field that has been tilled and cultivated and prepared just for the seedlings. Then we water them. We have to put in irrigation systems so they can
Mm-hmm.
have the right nutrients and water, and they grow. So they get to be about 5 to 6 feet high. And
Serious.
yes, and they
Wow.
look like little Christmas trees, right? That's the shape of them. Now, once they get like that, we cut them down, we harvest them, and then hang dry them. So,
Mm-hmm.
similar to what people are used to seeing on television around tobacco, we use a hang drying method to dry the plants, and then they go into the processor where they squeeze out all the CBD oil. CBD oil looks just like rich molasses. It's very,
Wow.
very thick. It's thicker than oil,
Like
and
like
then
like Alaga syrup.
thicker. Oh, see,
Thicker than Alaga?
it's thicker than Alaga syrup.
Ooh.
You can
Okay.
actually turn it upside down in a glass, and it will take a while for it to drain.
Ooh.
Yeah, we call it real black gold. It is black, thick oil, heavy
Mm.
crude oil, and so we went from being just novice growers to bringing in experts from Tuskegee Institute
Mhm.
to help us navigate this process. We had experts to come in from the Alabama Extension Center. And yes, another alpha is in the mix. Brother James Miles, who was an expert in agriculture in our area, who hooked us up with the information we needed, right, to grow, to get farming implements, to get free support from the state.
Mhm.
And so he showed us, we didn't even know how to drive a tractor, right?
Mm.
So when we bought the tractor, he came up to help us navigate, getting the tractor ready to till the soil. It has been a wonderful process, to be honest with you, in learning how to grow this crop.
I have so many like questions, and I know we are limited on time, man. I could talk to you about this for days, so I know it's gonna be another. This gonna have to be another episode, but so that part is just awesome, and just wanted to point out too just how vital it is for us to turn within the D9
Yes,
to for our knowledge and resources and everything we need, because what you said, that you guys were novices, but there was an expert, that's your brother,
yeah,
that you could turn to for what you need, and
hmm,
now you have a sustainable business that is pioneering things for not only D9 but for future generations of your family and other black folks,
yes,
that want to get into the business. But so you got the black gold now, and then you turn it into the products
yes.
that you guys have on the market. What are they? I know it's a line of them.
Okay,
But yeah, run through the gamut of that, and if you can, kind of briefly, I guess, tell how they come about.
okay. So you have to grow it. You get the black gold. Of course, another alpha. My One of my chapter brothers knew a
Okay.
scientist that was his line brother, and his roommate came down as a scientist now and showed us how to take the black gold and infuse it into all of our products. So we
Hmm.
have a product that helps with arthritis and joints and helps to reduce the inflammation in the body. It's our shea butter salves and our cocoa butter salves. And these products you actually rub on your hand and rub them on whatever joint. It infuses through the skin to reduce the inflammation in that joint. And it comes in strengths: a 250
Okay.
milligram strength, a 500 milligram strength, a 1,000 milligram strength. depending on the severity of the pain and the discomfort that people have. And so CBD, all it does, the cannabinoids, help to reduce the inflammation in the body. That's one thing it does. The other thing it does, it helps to reduce anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a range of products from salves, which are topicals, to our products that are edible or ingestible, like our beverages. We have an amazing tea line, sweet tea,
Show do.
lemonade.
Show, show do.
And it now people are finding out if you use the cannabinoids in CBD, it helps reduce people's alcohol intake. People are
Okay.
finding more relaxation with CBD beverages than they did with the side effects of alcohol. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a tea, a Rita's tea, that is the recipe from my cousin, who's an AKA. We have a peach tea, a raspberry tea, Arnold Palmer, which is a mix of our tea and our lemonade. And so those are our beverages. We also have things you can cook with, because if you can cook with CBD, it's going to get in your body and help to reduce the inflammation, while at the same time giving you a wonderful experience and relaxation feeling during your meal. So I'm excited when people come in and they say, "Oh, we used your butter. We have an infused
Mm.
butter. We have an infused brown sugar butter. We have gummies that a lot of people use to help with relaxation and to deal with anxiety
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of us have, social anxiety, depression, and therapists are using CBD as a way to help their clients today. And so we have
Mm-hmm.
a range of consumer products that can help individuals, whether it's, they need to relax, they need something to deal with their depression and their stress, or they have health challenges, anything from arthritis to people that have cancer, use it
Mm.
to help increase their appetite, because
Okay.
eating is still very important when you're taking chemotherapy, and it kills it. Chemotherapy can reduce your appetite. CBD can help you gain your appetite back. I
Oh
know we're
wow.
probably used to folks saying, "Oh, you smoke a little weed and you get the munchies." So the chemical that's in the cannabis is in the CBD that helps people to increase their appetite.
So the um parallels with CBD and THC are what when it comes to your process of developing your products.
Okay, so we always describe it this way:
Okay.
CBD and cannabis, weed, are like cousins,
Okay.
right? The same cannabinoids. The federal government basically said if it has THC levels below zero point 0.3, it's going to be called CBD. If it has THC levels above zero point 0.3, it's going to be called cannabis or weed.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is just that simple marker. The federal government could at some point say, no, we're going to raise it to zero point 0.4 or zero point 0.5. They have that authority. So right now, we meet the standard because we have to go through all of the regulations to be licensed by the state of Alabama. To none of our products are above zero point 0.3 levels of THC in our products, whether it's our salves, whether it's our beverages, our edibles like butter, olive oil, simple syrup that people can use in making cocktails or beverages at home, or into any of our gummies as well.
So for someone who is, I would say, curious about stepping into, trying CBD and products of that nature, what would you say would be the first or the best product, I guess, to try that they would get, significant results from?
So, depending on, I always say we ask a series of questions when people come
Okay.
in to see if they're looking for something to help them relax after a long, tough day,
Mm-hmm.
or are they having significant pain? If there is an issue around pain and joint pain and arthritis and those kinds of medical challenges, we recommend our topicals and our gummies because that will help with the discomfort, whether you're putting it
Mm-hmm.
directly on your skin and having it infused through your skin into your joints. Then we can talk about, the consumer products that we have in that. Now, if it's really you just want to relax and you're looking for something that can slow your brain down so you can rest at night, for those of
Mm-hmm.
us who think and their minds run all the time, I recommend us let's start off with some of our beverages or some of our gummies. And a fourth of our gummies can help people to sleep 30 minutes before they go to bed. They can have a gummy, it'll help them sleep all night. The same thing,
Mm-hmm.
they can have a little bit of our beverage options, and that will help them sleep throughout the night. So it just depends on the individual and what the individual would like. Now, I just think on a regular basis, our beverages are something that everybody can benefit from because it's not about getting you high, it's about having you to relax. And so you can rest.
Mm-hmm.
And so our beverages are great for recreational. People just want to go out and they're going to, they're tailgating or they have a cookout. I recommend our beverages because you can do it in small dosages and you can just enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've been a blessing. They've been a blessing to me. So you made me a believer. But
Because we want people
but
to enjoy, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, definitely.
amazing how we need to relax. In today's
Yeah,
time, with everything that's going on, we need to relax. And
yeah,
our
no doubt.
beverages can really help you relax and think.
No,
Yeah.
no doubt. So, I want to really, get into kind of encouraging our community about doing exactly what you guys did because, when our generation and generations to come, they don't really put a lot of stock and pride and it's almost like the desire or something, I don't know, is gone for sustaining family property.
Hmm.
And 150 years is a long time. My family has held on to land in the same manner, and thank God. But why is that important, Patrick? Like,
Yeah.
really, admonish the audience to take a second, to take a beat, and then take a second look at doing something like you guys, and then um, even speak to encouraging diving into educating themselves about maybe the hemp industry.
Yeah. I think, first of all, they're not making any more land, right? You're not making any more. And it is one of the things you can pass from generation to generation that can actually make a difference. And so I encourage people, we do workshops and trainings on the issue of how to sustain family land.
Okay.
And that's a conversation that I think everybody should be having within their family nucleus because you can buy rural land in some
Hmm.
parts, particularly in the South. $1,200, you can get you an acre of land.
Hmm.
So with trees on it. And so we talk about how you can grow timber and make money annually from the federal government and to pay taxes. Land can be used as a starting point for any amount of black family wealth. We
Hmm.
talk about building wealth. Land is one of, I think, the ground level investments. The other thing for families, place is important. Okay, And having land gives you something that you are rooted in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were taken to the land on a regular basis. We went down all the time. There's cemeteries on the property where my great grandfather and his mother are buried. And so, it gives you a grounding that other people
Mm-hmm.
don't get. And if you want to keep families together, having land can be a vehicle to do that. Now, we are socialized to believe by people that want your land that air property is the worst thing ever. And they use that as a tool to make you disinterested in owning the land. And so then they swoop in and they're winding up having thousands and thousands of acres because people move off to the big city and they don't want to have anything to do with it because they have been, kind of led to there is no value there when there is actually lots of value in owning rural property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I see it. I see it happening, and you're exactly right with the whole stigma, associated with air property and stuff. But if you really think about it, and especially like within our community, that's how we have been able to survive,
Yes.
for generations and generations is with air properties.
And it's not
And
chocolate. It really isn't about trying to go and be a slave in the
yeah,
context of just working the land in the field.
yeah,
I'm not going to be a slave. I would be a slave, but you're not a slave when you own it.
that's right. That's right. That's
You're not a
right.
slave when you own it. When you get the
That's right.
check from it, it's a long way from being a slave.
Amen.
And I think it's a way to honor those of our ancestors who were enslaved in this country. You know
Mm-hmm.
what? We're going to buy the land, we're going to control the land, and we're going to build the wealth. We are not going to run away from what we built. They built it. They put their blood, their sweat in the land. I am not
Mm-hmm.
going to let anybody run me away from the idea of having land in this country. This is our birthright. It's more so our
Mm-hmm.
birthright, to be honest with you, than anybody else's.
Yeah. Yeah.
They died for it.
Yeah. Amen. So how do you see you talked a little bit about like you guys, do some educating and stuff, but how do you see the marketplace changing in terms of, number one, African Americans taking advantage of educational programs and just cannabis and hemp education, period. Because like Alabama State now has a whole cannabis program where you can get certified and learn about it and all of that kind of stuff. But where do you see the marketplace turning or changing so that it provides more economic impact for particularly Black
Okay.
folks? And
So,
how would you encourage them to, take advantage of those types
okay.
of things?
Excellent question.
Okay.
Can we take 1 second and let
Hmm.
me plug in the laptop?
Yes.
Okay. What's
Okay. Hopefully we won't lose him.
okay? We're back.
Okay. All good.
Okay. So the the question around the industry is one I love to have because in the hemp industry, there's silos, right?
Okay.
So there's one sector which we're in now, which is called the CBD sector. Now there is an industrial side of CBD, of hemp. That hemp then grows just like cotton. If you're driving down a country road and you see a cotton field and it's just jam packed with cotton plants. So hemp can grow like that. When it's grown in that fashion, it's now used to do what we call the fiber industry, where
Mm-hmm.
that plant is stripped down to its core, chopped up and processed into an industrial fiber. The fiber is used in many different other industries. The clothing industry, when you use hemp fiber in clothing, like Levi Strauss has a whole hemp line, Patagonia, a very expensive um, clothing line, they have
Mm-hmm.
a whole hemp sector. You sell the hemp fiber, they turn it into cloth and into t-shirts and jeans and all other fabrics, right? Linen, that's a whole nother industry, right?
Hmm.
Also, that hemp fiber is now used in construction. When it's ground up, you put it into cement. It's called hemp creek, like cement.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Another sector, industrial, you grind it up, they put it into plastic, which makes a product like plastic, but it's lighter than plastic, it's stronger than plastic. And automobile industries are now using it in automobiles because the
What?
automobiles have to be lighter. They cannot use aluminum and fiberglass because that's heavier because
Mm-hmm.
of the electronic cars and batteries. They have to be lighter. Hemp is lighter and yet it is stronger. So you can take a hemp plant, process it into a range of different industrial products that everybody uses on a regular. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine you're able to grow it like corn on as small as 10 acres, 18 acres, 20 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Get it processed, and now you're able to meet the need of this construction industry, the automobile industry, and the fabric industry. Now we're talking about game changers for those of us that have inherited what everybody else would
Fascinating.
see as small parcels of land,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's enough. 40 acres, if we go back to 40 acres and a mule, 40 acres of hemp from on the industrial side is a game changer for a family.
So the issue, that we have in this country is manufacturing,
Yes.
especially within, our community and changing the game. So what I'm hearing you say is there you go. There's a little nugget of information of opportunity.
Yes. So this is
That
happening in Australia, right?
dang, okay.
Australia and China are leading the way in industrial hemp products. They have in Australia, they have created what's called hemp insulation, right? So the insulation you blow in your walls of your new homes and in the attic, there
Hmm.
is insulation that's made of hemp. The good part about that is hemp does not burn, right?
Okay.
So particularly in our rural communities, if a mobile home catches on fire, the mobile home is gone. Now, if you are insulating these mobile homes and these rural homes with a fabric, a product that does not burn, right? You can save people's homes and you can save lives.
Wow.
Australia is doing it. It has not come to the United States because, what I believe, to be honest with you, the industries are getting themselves together. And once they
Hmm.
figure it all out and they can monopolize it, then you're
Yeah.
going to see it start happening. That's why
Yeah.
we need to be on the cutting edge of this new industry.
Hmm. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's shift a little bit. I know that you are, I would say, like a health enthusiast and a health expert. You being the co-founder of Black People Run, Bike and Swim, which is so, so dope. First of all, the name is dope. But what you guys do, in terms of providing, a means for people to find community with being conscious and things like that about health. But I'm particularly interested in how you know marry the two parts of you, you know,
Hmm.
your education with health and your advocacy for that, and then you know how it blends with um, making CBD a part of you know your health, overall health.
Yeah.
um,
So, chocolate to be, I come from my academic background
yeah.
is in business, and then I worked for UAB in the School of Public Health and in the Department of Genetics for many, many years,
Oh wow, okay.
doing community based research on issues that are directly impacting the health of Black people. And
Hmm.
that's where my heart has always been. How do we live healthier lives? And when we came up with the idea of Black People Run, Bike, and Swim, it was just out of we have to move, right?
Mm.
We have to
Hmm.
move. You need to walk, you need to run, you need to cycle, no matter what age you are. You need to be doing these things. And how we connect that to the well being ish side of the CBD store is, you know what? When you move, you're gonna get some pain. The muscles are gonna get sore. So what do we created something to respond to that need, right? It's a
Hmm.
need. You see people exercising, they're gonna get stiff, they're gonna have joint pains. So in my mind, you know, I'm always thinking, how do we work on the entire journey of one's life?
Hmm.
And pain comes with a, you know, just a part of life. The older you
Hmm.
get, you're gonna wake up with more pain and more discomfort. And so from a public health perspective, CBD is perfect because it's a naturally occurring cannabinoid in a plant that can be processed and used to what, help get us moving and to address the challenges that our body faces as we get older.
Hmm.
So it's just a, to me, a natural trajectory and journey.
Hmm. So what is you know next for Datus Henry? What is you know of course how can people visit you? I know your website is available, but what's next on the path for Datus Henry?
So it really is to get our products in the hands and the households of as many folks as we can. That's our goal. We want to
Hmm.
be one of the largest distributors of CBD products that benefit our people. And that's what we're focused on. We're focused every day on how do we get the word out. So we thank you for having us on the podcast because until our people know about it and take advantage of it, then we are not fulfilling our mission as well as we can. And so we're dedicated, you know, for
Hmm.
us doubling down on getting the message out to the community locally and nationally.
Hmm.
And we think that the Divine Nine is a great space for us to be in. You'll start seeing us at conventions in the coming months, and just creating an opportunity for members of our organizations to be healthier and to
Hmm.
keep moving by using our products.
So why was it important for you guys to put your brick and mortar inside of like the historic civil rights, you know,
Yeah,
district
so
and park?
chocolate,
That
we're
that is so rich right there, man. That's just it seems intentional, but yeah,
yeah.
please share.
It was intentional. So when my family moved from the Black Belt, my grandmother moved and my grandfather moved to Birmingham. They immediately became involved in the civil rights movement. My
Hmm.
grandfather was a foot soldier. You hear people talk about foot soldiers, particularly here in Birmingham, that were the folks that actually got bit by dogs for protesting and the water hoses shot on them. So my grandfather was in that number and experienced that
Wow.
horrific treatment.
Wow.
So we grew up understanding the importance of the civil rights movement And so my grandfather and his sister and her husband, all and their children, all of them. My cousin Pam, who's an AKA, her
Mm-hmm.
dad was richly involved in the NAACP um, and a labor activist. So we come from a stock of people that care about civil rights and believe in fighting for our human rights and civil rights. And so having a store was intentional. I
Okay.
wanted to be in the civil rights district. And when uh, a friend of mine had a store available, and I talked to him and his family, and they were like, "Sure, we have
Mm.
the space. Come on,
Mm.
put your store here." And so we're on the Fourth Avenue Business District on the historic. So you hear about Black Wall Streets. Every city had a Black Wall Street.
Right.
We are on the street that is known for Black businesses here in the city of Birmingham. And so it was a perfect place for us.
Mm-hmm. And it's super nice, and it's a multi-purpose space,
Yeah.
and it's I love it.
So I
I
hope
love
people
it.
will come, just
Yeah.
to see our space and to see
Mm-hmm.
the things we have that walk people through the understanding CBD and what hemp looks like. So we have exhibitions where people can touch the CBD and they can touch the hemp and they can see the CBD. We have farm implements that tell the story of our family. My great grandfather Davis and his wife Alice Henry. That's who the store is named after.
Man.
So we're rich and blessed because of what our families left us. But
Mm-hmm.
what are we going to do? What do you do with the blessing? One of the things we do with the blessing is we came up with a CBD store, right? That's based in the historic civil rights district of Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a wonderful place for us.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, for businesses and business minded entrepreneurs who are looking to get into this space with all of the uncertainty and stuff that's coming down with regulations and obstacles and things like that that are
Yeah,
potentially we'll have to run into funding and I don't who knows
yeah.
shoot just all this stuff. uh what would you say for preparing your business model or preparing with tools for the game or potential obstacles, when it comes to getting into this space? Can you kind of speak to
Yeah,
that?
so some of your guests probably have heard about all of the legal
Yeah.
bills that have been passed in the state legislature just recently, trying to regulate the industry. And of course, they are designed in ways to keep our people from participating and making it difficult for them to participate in the industry. We know we have to be on our game when it comes to the regulations. We don't play with the regulations. Since 2019, we've had to deal with the state of Alabama on the changing regulations every year about just simply growing, right? So they have to approve. This is how silly they can be. We can't buy a seed to put in the ground without the state approving that seed and counting the number of seeds we get and how many plants we put in the ground. Regulations is just a part of this industry. And when I'm
Okay.
talking to people that want to jump in the industry, I say, look, you have to be responsible for yourself and living up to the regulations. It is a part of it. You cannot take shortcuts. It's not going to work. They are going
Hmm.
to use that as a tool to keep you out of the industry. So we know we have to adjust. So we have been adjusting since the legislation passed in Montgomery a couple of months, well, a month or so ago. We have been adjusting from packaging to signage so that we will be in compliance so they can't keep us out of this industry. We are going to be opening up opportunities, Chocolate, where we will have sales reps. People can be
Hmm.
a sales rep for Data Center and sell this product in their network, and they get a profit they get a share of the profit. And it's just another way of us making sure that our folks are in the industry. Once you get in the industry, you can find where you're going to fit,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at what's happening at Alabama State University, they have a hemp and cannabis growing class, coursework,
Mm-hmm.
right? Morehouse School of Medicine has just released their
Oh,
coursework that you
okay.
can get certified in this industry. They're Columbia, all of these universities now, right? Agriculture universities, particularly, and medical schools are looking at how they offer certificates
Mm-hmm.
and disciplines to learn about the industry. We need to get our young people in these programs so
Mm-hmm.
they can see. I'm talking about labs. We have to have everything tested. So if you have a STEM background, you can open up your own lab, right, to be able to do the testing that they are requiring us to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have to be the agriculture specialist, to teach people how to grow and cultivate it, whether you're going to grow it in a greenhouse or using hydroponics or using traditional farming mechanisms. So the industry is vast, but we have to get our people
Mm-hmm.
engaged at the ground level so that they can benefit from this new industry.
Well, I think it's dope. First of all, thank you again for coming on the podcast. I cannot wait to have continued conversations because I'm so fascinated. Number one,
Because we can
but
always talk about, we
yeah,
can talk about beverages and the impact and the coolness of our beverages and our products
yeah,
all day.
all day. Hmm. Yeah, all day long. But I see an opportunity, and this is the thing. And definitely one of the missions of the podcast is to expose our community of others who are leading the way towards the future for not only economics, finance, business, the whole nine. And we don't want to silo within. We want to externally continue to foster and nurture those relationships because it's nine organizations that we can build on each other.
Mhm.
So I'm just so appreciative for you sharing your story, sharing your family history, everything, but more importantly, just continued conversations because there's opportunity there for us to really drive an economic change for our community.
Yes.
So I'm so appreciative for that. But last thing I said, last thing, my last question, but how can people, reach out to you? How, are you available to do education classes, tell everybody how they can stay connected with you.
Yeah. So we're on every social media platform. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and so the younger folks in the family, they're always getting me to Patrick. You do know we need to be posting more, and I'm like, well, yes, we do need to do that. But one of the things that is important for us is people just reaching out to us at datushenry.com, and that's DATUS Henry HENRY.com. And they can find us on Facebook. They can find us on Twitter. We love coming and talking to what is something as simple as a church group that has a health
Mm-hmm.
ministry, to senior citizens groups, um, to other active living groups to talk about the benefits and the truth about CBD, and how it can transform not just our health but our wealth.
Mm.
And it's important for us. Word of mouth is the best way. So if someone is watching and enjoying the podcast, reach out to us at datushenry.com, and let's figure out a way that we can come and have conversations. With any small group, large group conference, we're available. So think about it when you have your family reunions. If you're coming to Birmingham and you're going to bring your family to see the Civil Rights District, come by and see us here at Davis Henry, and we can talk about generational wealth. We can talk about land. We can talk about from cotton to hemp is our family story. Our roots are in Coy, Alabama, in the Black Belt. Where are your roots from? And how can we help you figure out ways to honor your ancestors by owning some land in the spaces where they were enslaved?
Amen. Amen. Well, Patrick, thank you so much. And thank you for joining the podcast. And that's going to wrap for another episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. And please share the word, share the story, and look them up. Patrick Packer, Davis Henry Industries. And they're doing big, big, big things. Make sure that you like, share, comment, subscribe to the podcast on social media platforms, also on podcast platforms. Watch full episodes on YouTube, and we will be back again with another episode coming soon. Thank you so much, Patrick. You can support Grown in Greek by subscribing to the podcast, shopping our exclusive luxury accessory line, or purchasing books from the D9 Book Club by visiting our website at growningreekpodcast.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and share on social media at Grown in Greek Podcast. Thanks for watching.